Hey, I no need to work out some gigantic stuffs to compromise your privacy and security. All I need is to make you a click. Just one click. That is more than enough to take you over. Excited? Let me show you how. Hello viewers, greetings. My name is Perumal Jagan. I am so glad to catch you up once again with another exciting concept. Okay, let me reveal the concept to you. Today I am going to explain about malwares, malicious software. And malicious softwares are nothing but a piece of code. It's a software intentionally created to cause some malicious activities and malicious consequences. When we talk about malware, there are multiple types of malwares. Based on the software's behavior, we can classify its types. And in those types, I'm going to explain about specific malware type today. And the malware type I'm gonna explain is backdoor. Before we learn about backdoors in depth, let's get to know few things about remote access trojans. Remote access trojans are nothing but it's a piece of code, a malicious software, but it masquerades itself as a legitimate software in victim's machine. When the victim or the user executes the code, the software, the rat will expose its behavior. And the backdoor is one of the types of remote access trojans. Let me explain about backdoors in depth. As I said before, backdoor is the type of rat, remote access trojan. And remote access trojan is nothing but it is a malicious software, but it masquerades itself as a legit software inside the victim's machine. So there are no chances of getting suspicion, and there is a difference between backdoor and rat based on the behavior of backdoor. Behavior is nothing but when the backdoor gets into the victim's machine, it tries to contact the attacker, or you can say it as C2, command and control server, the attacker machine. So actually what it does, when it's get into the victim's machine, it establishes the secure channel called shell with the attacker's machine. When the attacker manages to get the shell from the victim's machine, they can totally control the victim. Also, this attacker machine and the victim's machine follows the client server architecture. In some cases, the victim's machine will be acting as a server. So it will be listening on certain ports, and the attacker machine will try to communicate with the server. But there is a drawback and a problem in this scenario. I'll tell you. Now let's assume the normal user is located somewhere inside the isolated some network with security. In that case, there will be some tight restrictions when it comes to inbound access to the normal user. So when the attacker tries to communicate the normal user, there might not be an access. So the exploit attempt by using the backdoor can fail. But the skillful penetration tester should bypass this scenario and should able to get the successful shell. But in order to overcome this failure situation, we have to think for an alternatives, and we can find an effective alternative by making a small change. I'm just going to change the server and the client. Okay, in my previous case, my normal user was server and my attacker machine was client and tried to connect the victim machine. In this case, the normal user is no longer a server Actually, our victim is going to act as a client, and our attacker machine is going to act as a server. So it is going to be listening for shells. Now in this scenario, the normal user might be having some relaxations in outbound traffic compared with the inbound connection. For an example, when the attacker machine is listening on port 443, the well-known port for HTTPS, then obviously most of the network should be able to connect this HTTPS port, as the port 443 is more common than other ports, and this little modification would definitely gain the shell to the attacker, and this concept is called reverse backdoor, also connect back backdoor. It is all about theoretical explanation. Now let's learn backdoors by doing some practical research. As I said before, there are two components, attacker and victim, and the attacker server is also called C2 server, command and control server. So from this command and control server only we are going to control our victims. Along with these two components, we need some stuff to transfer from attacker machine to victim machine, a piece of code, and that is called payload. Now I'm in disclaimer part. I'm not going to unleash this vicious backdoor on anyone. I'm just going to test this backdoor on myself. So this video is just for learning. Don't apply this on anyone without their permission, and don't get yourself in trouble. Now you all seeing my base machine, and this machine is going to be my victim, of course. And let me introduce my C2 server. Hope you can see the screen now. Okay, this is my C2 server. Actually, I am running this C2 server on AWS. I am running this C2 server on AWS, and I took RDP of this server. You can see its IP details here. Now let me introduce the backdoor script to you. Actually, I found this Python backdoor script in GitHub. So the backdoor is made by using the Python programming language. When I scroll this, I'll be able to see its description and the installation method and its features and the quick usage of it. Now I'm simply going to follow this procedure and going to show how to build the payload and how we are going to use that payload to lure our prey. Now let's talk a little bit about our installation part. Here you need Python. The version should be above 3.6, and also make sure you add Python to path during the installation, and you need a Windows computer. Let me mention one thing here. This backdoor will be working on Windows machines alone. So this is specially made for Windows machines. I need to open the PowerShell as an administrator. Now I already installed Python in my machine. I'm just checking its version. I installed Python latest version 3.9.5, which is above 3.6. So this is more than enough. And the next thing I need to do is install this backdoor. First of all, let me download it. I extracted the package. Now when I open this Python backdoor package, I can able to see few files and folders here. In requirements, I can see the list of softwares. These are some programs that we need to install in this machine to execute the backdoor successfully. When I open the server, I can see 3 Python scripts. Let me open one script and show you. So this is the Python script that we have. Like this, we have three scripts: client, server, and setup. When I open the archive, I can see another Python script and one VB script. Now I need to install the required dependent packages. Let me do that in PowerShell. I am switching the folder of this requirements document. To switch that, change directory. Now I switched successfully. Now simply executing this command. The requirements are already installed in my machine, but if you follow these steps, you will be able to install these requirements. As the dependent packages are successfully installed, it is time to create the payload. In order to create the payload, I am getting into the source folder, src folder, and inside that I need to execute the setup script. Let me show you. So when I execute this setup script, it asks me 4 different options. Here I need to specify the server IP, our C2 server IP. I hosted this C2 server on internet on AWS because I need to get connections from everywhere on the internet. So that is why I hosted on the internet, and also there is the public IP address reachable from the internet. So I'm gonna use this IP address, and the selection is use a different IP for the server. Second one. So I need to enter the IP address that I want to use, 52. Perfect. The next thing I need to do is to mention the port number. As I said before, I am going to use the common ports, and the more common port is 443, the HTTPS port for web traffic. So I'm going to use that port alone, and the remaining things I'm just keeping it as default. I'm giving enter just. I'm getting that error, but I'm just going to ignore those errors simply. Anyway, it is going to work. Now our payload is being created. You can see there are some folders, new folders created here. Yeah, now the script closed and our payload is created. Here you can see we need to run the setup script to set up our payload. Successfully our payload is created, and we need to check the dist folder that was newly created for our payload. When I go to the dist folder, I'll be able to see the application, the executable file. So this can be run only on Windows machines. So this is specially made for Windows operating systems. Now all we need to do is to transfer this payload somehow into our victims' machines. For this, you may use phishing emails and some malicious websites. Also, you can use few other social engineering techniques. Now, all I need to do is to transfer this file to my victim's machine. My own machine. Here I am in my own machine. I already brought that file to my machine. I am ready to execute from my victim's machine. Before that, I need to enable the listener. The port 443 must be learning on our C2 server. So let's enable that. Once again, I'm in my C2 server. When I get into the src folder, you can see the server script. Before executing the script, you have to do some modifications on this script. Now I need a small modification on this server script before executing this. That is the IP address. Actually, the victims are going to contact the public IP of this machine. But here I am going to use the private IP address of this particular machine, as I am in the private network. So let me change the IP address here. Successfully changed and the port is already 443. Now it looks fine. Now all I need to do is execute this script. Now the machine is listening on port 443. Now I'm ready to execute the file from my victim machine. So I'm in my victim machine now. I'm simply clicking this. Now the victim machine doesn't have any idea. I just did a single click. It doesn't have any idea. Now let me see. Did we get any connection? Now here I didn't get any connection. I know what is the issue behind this. Let me tell you. Actually, I'm running this C2 server instance on AWS. In AWS, when you are running the Windows machine, by default, only the inbound access for port 3389 will be available. But if you want to allow any other inbound traffic on particular port, then you need to open the inbound connection. Now I am in my AWS console. All I need to do is to click the particular machine, and here when I scroll down, I can go to the security group. In security group, let me open that. When I open that, I can see there is an inbound rule, but only for RDP port. I need to create another inbound rule for port 443 because that is the standard HTTPS port that we are using to get the connection from our victims. It will be custom TCP and I am using port 443. I don't know the source, so I am mentioning any. Now I successfully saved this. Now you can see the connection established. So this is the public IP address of mine and I got connection from my machine. When you go to your victim's machine, you will not be having any idea. I just clicked this. After that, there is no considerable change that I can realize. But when I go here in Task Manager, I'll be able to see the existing process is running. Here you can see the process client is running on these machines at the back end. Let's see what are all the options, what kind of data that we can fetch from our victim machine. And in order to get the help, simply press H. It will list you available options and list all the connections. Let me click L. It will list the available connection, and currently I have only one connection from my base machine, I mean the victim machine, but you will be able to have multiple connections from multiple victims. So this is really great, and the ID is 0. So I want to interact with this particular machine to grab some data. So to interact with the connection, I need to use the character I. So I have to use I space 0. When I use this option, I'll be able to see the list of options that we have in front of us. So let's see what are all these. So when we use R, we will be able to receive some file from the user, and when we use S, we will be able to send some file to the user, and when you use P, it will take the screenshot. So it is little exciting. Let's test this now, but before that, let me minimize it little bit, and we need to know that we are taking the screenshot of our victim machine, and let me keep it in the desktop. Perfect. Now when I click P, I'm just giving enter. Now everything is done. The file size and the screenshot is taken, and the screenshot is also stored in the machine. Now let's see in our C2 server. I can see the image here. When I open this, I'll be able to see the screenshot that we took. I'm maximizing into my C2 machine. Now you can see the screenshot that I took from my victim, my PC. Perfect. It is working as we expected. Now let's explore few other options we have. Apart from the screenshot user info, let's view the user info now. And to view the user info, I simply need to enter U. Then it displays the IP address, the public IP address of our victim, and the PC name, operating system, and the username. And we can also view the files in our victim's machine. And in order to do that, I'm clicking V, and here you can see the drives, list of drives. And when I click C colon, I'll be able to view the list of available folders in the C drive of my victim. So this is totally awesome. I'll be able to send some message to my victim, and also I can open the command prompt of my victim machine. Let me do that. Now I am in the E folder of my victim's machine. I can move to C drive. I'm in the C drive now. You can use dir instead of ls. I can see the list of available folders in my C drive. And I can also navigate through the file system, and I will be able to grab some sensitive information from my victim's machine. Let me grab a file that I stored in my victim's machine. In music folder, I stored the document. Let me grab that file, cd users. cdhp. You can see how I am navigating through the file system of my victim's machine. Here I need to get into the music folder, cd music. Here I am, and I can see the file here. Now all I need to do is to note down this folder and the file name to grab it. And in order to exit this, I'm simply giving exit. So now let me see the option to get the file. So I need to use option R to receive the file from the user. When I use R, it asks for the target file. I pasted the path. Perfect. Output file. The output file, I am giving a different name here, victims file. Perfect. Now I received the file in my C2 server. When I open this document, I'll be able to see the content of the document. Actually, the script is working insanely. You see here, add to startup and remove from startup. The startup is the folder in our task manager. Let me show you. When you go to the startup, you will be able to see the list of programs that we have. These programs will be launched whenever the desktop restarts. Now let's add this payload into the startup folder of the victim's machine and check what happens. I need to click A space 1. Now it registered. You can see the client. The payload has been added into the startup folder of my victim machine. So whenever the machine restarts, it will be automatically executed. So my C2 server will be getting the uninterrupted connection. This is another excellent feature. Now I am going to remove that one. Now I removed that. Let me check it in the startup folder now. When I check the startup folder, I don't see the payload anymore. Apart from this, we can also restart the machine and even shut down that machine, and eventually we can also close the connection if we don't want that connection anymore. We have the keylogger to record the keystrokes that our victim press. Let's close this connection now and see what happens. I'm pressing C. The connection is closed now. When I execute this payload from my victim's machine, it throws me some alert. The operation didn't complete because the file contains the virus potentially unwanted software. Actually, my base machine's threat protection is detected this virus and it blocked. Let's see what happened here. That is why I haven't get any connections till now. But when you don't have the threat protection and properly configured Windows Defender, then probably you are susceptible to such exploitation. Yeah, that's all I had to say for the day. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you really learned something from this, then consider hitting the like button and smash the subscribe button without fail, and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I am posting the video. Again, keep one thing in your mind: use this backdoor and other malwares wisely. So it is a skill. As a penetration tester, you must know how to use these malwares wisely. And yeah, that's all I've got. I'm see you again with another exciting video. Until then, I'll catch you up. Thank you guys.